You know that flu cases are surging here in Ohio and across the country. We're also dealing with a growing measles outbreak that has spread to Ohio, which has the first 3 confirmed cases in the nation and likely a 4th suspected. Let's send it over to senior health correspondent Monica Robbins now in Studio B with more, and she has some answers. Monica.
Oh, I'll try to get some answers for you. This is the worst respiratory virus season we've seen in nearly 30 years, and it will likely get worse before cases start to ease. But that's not the only thing floating around. Joining me now is Dr. Amy Edwards, pediatric infectious disease expert at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to get to the flu questions in just a moment, but you're also the president-elect of the Infectious Diseases Society of Ohio, and Cuyahoga County has the distinction of having the first 3 confirmed cases of measles this year in the state and the nation, and they are linked to the South Carolina outbreak. Next week, the U.S. is likely going to lose its measles elimination status, as Canada did last fall. What does this mean, and why should people care?
Well, what it means is that we basically have had consistent measles cases for a year. So prior to recent outbreaks, we've had measles cases ever since we became what's known as a measles-free country in 2000. But they were always sporadic cases, people who were unvaccinated traveling abroad, getting measles coming here, but not really spreading it. Now what we're seeing is same thing. We definitely have people who are traveling abroad who are unvaccinated. They brought measles back. That actually happened several times throughout the year. But then the number of people in and around them who were unvaccinated was large enough that they were able to start outbreaks, and those outbreaks have just continued and continued and continued. And now we're looking at no longer being a measles-free country. The UK lost its measles eradicated status in 2019. Canada did, as you mentioned. Now we're going to. What that means is not enough people are getting vaccinated. Measles is spreading. Kids are getting sick. Kids are getting admitted. We know here in the United States, kids are dying. It's just
Let me ask you this, Dr. Edwards. 230 public health organizations calling on Congress to investigate the updated childhood vaccine schedule put in place by Secretary Kennedy. What are your thoughts on that? And does Congress even have the ability to change things back?
No, Congress does not have that power. The power of setting the vaccine schedule rests with the head of the CDC, who is, I believe, a lawyer right now. I'm not sure. But absolutely, Congress can ask for that investigation, but it rests with the executive branch, unfortunately. Those recent changes that were made were not based on any science. There was no new publications, no new information or data that would push to make those changes. One thing I do want to emphasize is all of the vaccines that have been removed as recommended for children are still available and should still be covered by your insurance. So do not let that fool you into thinking that they're not available anymore, that your kids can't be fully vaccinated, because they still can be.
Let's talk influenza. We have one of the most contagious strains floating around. How is this impacting kids?
It has been, so I've actually been on service in the hospital in Rainbow. I did 2 weeks in December, and I just came off service for a week. So that means I'm seeing kids in the hospital. And what I'm seeing has been one of the worst winters I can remember in almost 20 years of being a pediatrician and being an infectious disease doctor. And it's not just the flu itself. What we're actually seeing is kids getting admitted with severe complications from the flu. So kids getting admitted with severe pneumonia, kids getting admitted with abscesses in their lungs, abscesses in their sinuses, behind their eyes, in their brain, in their spine. I've never seen so many children with post-influenza complications ever in my entire career that I can think of. It's overwhelming, actually, how many kids are in the hospital right now.
Can you talk about the secondary infections? You mentioned that would be secondary, but what about co-infections? How common are those?
We always see co-infections in children. You know, they're in and around other children, so it's not unusual. They're recovering from rhinovirus, they're recovering from, parvovirus or something other, and then they also get flu, or they also get COVID, or they also get RSV. We do see those all the time. But I would say about 20 to 30% of children who are admitted to the hospital with a respiratory virus actually have a co-infection of some sort. That's pretty common. Obviously, those kids are generally a little bit sicker than the ones who are just fighting one virus at a time. But that we haven't seen an unusual amount of co-infections this year. It's really the secondary infections that have been overwhelmingly large. I mean, there's just so many. I can't even describe to you how unusual this year is.
We have a minute left. Let me ask you this. What do parents need to know to protect their kids? We know the flu shot isn't a perfect match. Will it still help?
It does appear to still be helping. Early data coming out from around the world and from the United States does appear to show that vaccinated people are less likely to be admitted to the hospital. It's not great protection. Most people who are vaccinated still seem to be able to get sick, but they're not getting as sick. I will say that every child that I've seen in the hospital has not been vaccinated. We Unfortunately, we don't know till the end of the season what the actual efficacy of the vaccine was, but early data does point to fewer hospitalizations in those who are vaccinated. It is not too late to get your vaccine, to get your kids vaccinated. I urge you to do so because, what we're seeing previously healthy kids coming in with the flu, with these secondary infections that are just devastating. So please, please get your kids vaccinated.
Dr. Edwards, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate you. All right, Dave, back to you.
All right, Monica, a lot of important information there. Thank you very